Hey girl, so glad that you tuned in. My name is Bethany, and this is the Make Up Your Mind channel. You're listening to episode number 31. Whether you're actually putting on your makeup, maybe you're getting ready for work or for school, or maybe you're in the coffee drive-thru today, wherever life finds you, I hope that you remember that there are people in the world that are for you, that are cheering you on to succeed. Today, I hope that I get to be one of those people standing on the sideline of your life, just like a cheerleader, helping you all day long to make up your mind about the small things that add up to huge things later on. We have just started a new series on social media. This is our second episode, and I can't wait to dive into more of this. Today's episode is titled The Highlight Reel. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is the segment where I usually talk about makeup, some kind of beauty tip or some kind of makeup that I've tried that I want you guys to try that I've really liked. I usually talk about anything that has to do with makeup or skincare or whatever. Well, recently I have been having really peely cuticles. Like, you guys, it's gross. Like, I don't know if it's the weather or what it is, but my cuticles have been really peely. And I've had like all the hangnails. You know when you're just like suddenly your fingers bleeding for no reason and you're like, what happened? So this is a shout out to my friend Annabelle, who I was telling about my bleeding fingers. And she said to me that she uses vitamin E oil on her cuticles all the time. Now, this is a disclaimer. I have not tried this yet. I have some on order right now. So I'll have to do a review for you guys in the future to let you know how it's working. But Annabelle swears by it. So I'm thinking that if she has had a good experience, we should try it. Am I right? So I'm going to post a link to some vitamin E oil, probably just from Amazon, on this post. Why don't you give it a try? Tell me how you like it. DM me. Tell me how it goes for you. So girl, do you ever find yourself like randomly depressed when scrolling on social media? Like you just be scrolling through on Instagram or TikTok or wait, side note, pause. Should I have a TikTok account? You guys, I know TikTok's like all the rage right now. Should I like make a grand entrance on TikTok? I think that you should DM me and tell me whether or not you think I should create one. What would you want to hear about? Would you want like small, quick little tips on relationship advice or makeup stuff? Or what would you want to hear about if I made a TikTok? That's a side note. Back to the real thing. Yeah, this sudden feeling of depression can just hit randomly. I've had it happen to me many times. Just scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on Facebook, scrolling on TikTok or Snapchat or whatever your favorite form of social media is. I remember a particular moment where this happened to me. It was in one of my lower seasons of life. What do I mean by that? It just means that my self-worth was kind of lower than usual. I wasn't feeling very proud to be myself where I was at. I wasn't having good feelings about myself. I was definitely not happy with where I was at in life. Have you ever been there? Unsatisfied with yourself? Maybe it's even come from other people. Maybe some people have told you somehow that you're just not good enough or you don't make the cut. And maybe sometimes those words just echo around in your head. So that happens. You're already feeling down on yourself. And then you go and you open the freaking Instagram and you just scroll monster. That's what me and Deonis call it when we are just stuck in the scroll loop. We're just going through the TikToks, going through the reels, going through the stories, and you just kind of are stuck on autopilot. Tap, 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 next. Once that happens and it's paired with our low self-worth, it is not a good thing. It's like the perfect storm, you guys. Almost, and I say almost, all of the photos, videos, whatever, etc. that you see are of people's highest, best moments. Literally everything on social media that you're ingesting has been curated, staged, and filtered to be perfect. So much of it was about the right angle that the girl used to make herself look thinner, or the right app that she used to make her skin look absolutely flawless. So much of it is about the 90 million photos that she took in order to just get the one photo that she posted. But you didn't see any of those 90 million other photos that she took where she looks like an absolute idiot. You guys, it leaves me feeling absolutely awful. Have you ever been there? Just getting off of social media and feeling like I just want to die. Because I'm comparing literally my worst moment to her best moment. I'm comparing my lowest day to her highest day. This cannot be healthy, can it? It's like, you guys, almost a form of torture. I'm sitting here in my sweat, hair in a messy bun, makeup on from last night still, eating Doritos on my couch. And I'm comparing it to her being out on the town in her cute dress with her perfect hair day and smoothie in hand. But girl, let me tell you, she has these days too. And I'm saying she. This is the greater she. This is the she that you're comparing yourself to. Or maybe the he, whatever. Am I right? Not pictured for her are the days where she's melting down because she's so unsatisfied with her life. Not pictured is the day that she's having a come apart because her parents are splitting up. Not pictured is the day that she gets cheated on. Am I right? Like, she has hard, low days too, just like you do. She feels just as insecure as you on the day you're sitting on the couch eating your bag of Doritos. This is why we call it the highlight reel. And it's not always the highlights. You guys know there's always that person that's also having their worst day and they're posting it on Facebook. And just a side note about that, since we're talking about all things social media, we're going to go there too. It's my opinion, and feel free to just leave this as my opinion. But it's my opinion that social media is not the place to whine about your day. Okay? Okay. Really? It's just not a good look. If you have a bad day, we all have bad days. I totally get it. Don't whine about it on social media. Go talk to an actual person who cares. Not that we don't all care, but really social media is not the place where we want to go and hear the sob story. And that sounds harsh, but I think that you would all agree with me. We've all seen that person whining and throwing a fit on social media, and it's not a good look, so don't do it. Process your emotions and your bad day with a friend, not with your thumbs. Again, it's just my opinion. I don't think it looks authentic. I know some people are just going for like, I just want to be my authentic self on social media, but that's actually not really what social media is, because your life is your life. Your life is not social media. To me, it looks like you're trying to get attention in an unhealthy way. That's what it looks like. Okay, and I also want to make it clear that I know that there's a difference between that and, having a day where you actually have to make a hard announcement on social media. Those days happen too, where a loved one dies, where you receive a really hard diagnosis and you're wanting to let a large group of people know all at the same time. I get that. That's a totally different scenario, and one where you can actually put together a well-formulated statement. That is totally different than whining. But back to my main point, like I was saying, most of social media is a highlight reel. Most people, when you go on social media, are posting the beautiful moments of life, births, celebrations, weddings, birthdays, achievements, all kinds of beautiful, fun things. Sometimes they're selfies, they're projects, they're works of art that people have done, and it's all beautiful and it's all a highlight reel. I have a couple of friends who regularly delete posts from their feed because they specifically want their feed to look a certain way. And if what they post doesn't match with what their feed looks like, they'll delete it. You know what? I kind of appreciate that because when I go to their feed, it's beautiful. Their feed is a curated representation of themselves. And I think that that's just fine. But for me, on my lowest day, I cannot compare their beautiful feed to my messy life. They're two completely different things. They're actually not even related to one another because one is just a social media feed and one is actually the ins and outs of who I am. Some of my friends that have the most beautiful social media feeds have been through super dark days, have been through super hard times, days where they were so desperate. And some of them have even posted about those days in a beautiful way to encourage others in their journeys. So, what do we do with this information? I think most of us are aware that social media is really a highlight reel of people's lives and that we can't really compare our day in and day out with that. But at the same time, I think sometimes we can forget. We can have moments where we get insecure and stressed and we start doing the comparison game all over again. And I think that we have to revisit this idea of stepping back. How do we begin to put social media back in its place? Let me just give you a couple of suggestions that I have found have worked out well for me. I know that sometimes it's hard to be mindful of when we're on social media. Sometimes we're not fully aware of our own feelings all the time. And social media is just like clicking a button. It just happens so naturally. It happens all the time and we don't even realize we're doing it. But if we can be mindful about our state of being every time we click that Instagram, click that TikTok button, we can go into it with a healthier mindset. If I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling down or sad, if I'm feeling insecure, or maybe I'm feeling sensitive that day, maybe it's not a good time for me to actually be scrolling through other people's highlights because it is just going to rub my face in the fact that somebody else is having a really good day today. Maybe in those low times, it's not the best time to scroll through the world's best moments. I've been on a journey myself trying to recognize these mindsets before I get onto social media. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes I feel myself start to get that depressed, that feeling when I'm on social media and I go, I'm not being very mindful right now. So I shut it off and I go for a walk. I do some yoga. I go cook something fun. I go out and hang out with a friend. I try and do something that is disengaged from the world of social media so that I can reground myself in who I am. I say this suggestion very lightly. Sometimes I unfollow people. Now, there has to be a good, healthy mindset in why you're unfollowing someone because cancel culture is a real thing. And we're actually going to talk about that in a coming episode. I think that sometimes we can take this whole unfollowing people to an extreme. Think before you even get to the place where you have to go through and unfollow people, I think it might be time for you to actually take a break or a breather from social media yourself. I think a lot of the time we as humans reflect our own issues onto others and make them the other person's issue. We put what's going on in our own hearts onto another person instead of doing the hard work of dealing with it in our own lives. There's more on this topic coming up in another episode on cancel culture, so make sure that you don't miss that one. But for now, it leads right into my next thought, which is maybe it's time that you take a step back and take a break from social media. It's really healthy to do that sometimes. My husband actually just finished a season of Lent and he fasted all of his social media accounts. And honestly, you guys, I think I like him better without social media. The thing is, if you delete that app, you can always re-download it. It's not impossible to get back. Sometimes all we need is to quiet the noise and the pressure and the anxiety that social media puts on us. Girl, in this world, there are so many things that are fighting for your attention, fighting for your affections, fighting to influence you in one way or another. And so much of that comes at you through social media. So don't forget to be careful what you let in because it all settles. Whether we think it does or not, it all settles into our heart. So be careful what you're taking in through your eyes and into yourself. Remember to put social media in its place. It's just a tool. It's not your whole world. Just like always, I'm going to end with a scripture. And the word in Psalm 46 says this. I'm just going to read it to you. It's so good. God is a safe place to hide. He's ready to help when we need him. We stand fearless at the cliff edge of doom, courageous in a sea storm and earthquake. Before the rush and roar of oceans, the tremors that shift the mountains, Jacob, wrestling God, fights for us. God of the angel armies protects us. River fountains splash joy, cooling God's city, this sacred haunt of the Most High. God lives here. The streets are safe. God is at your service from the crack of dawn. Skipping down to verse 10, it says, step out of traffic. Take a long, loving look at me, your high God. Above politics, above social media, above everything. Jacob wrestling God fights for us. The God of the angel armies protects us. How good is that? Take a step out of traffic. Take a step out of the noise, the busyness of the anxiety of social media, and let God be present with you here now. Girl, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation and talk on social media. As always, you are loved, and let me tell you, you are valuable. I hope you let that really sink in today. As always, wherever you're consuming this content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give me some stars, give me some comments, give me some shares, some likes, wherever you're at. Share it with somebody that you know is walking through it right now and needs some encouragement. I am so excited to see you next week, and until then, I'll see you on the socials. Catch you later.